Life's a bitch, I'm married to a grandson. Driving me crazy, but he's so damn handsome. Can't stand him, same time can't blame him. Monkey wrench in the mix, lights action. Camera amateur, hands up stamina. You should take a knee cause you damn sure can't stand with her. Tamara Dobson, awesome, awesome. Molotov marksman, sparking, proceed with caution. The only option, resurrecting black gods and goddesses. Either you a gangster or a part of us. Part and parcel, moored to the land. Infinite, the galaxy on one grain of sand. The throne you respect, better known as Osset. With the 14 pieces of a saw, reconnect. Ready, set, go. Blow the hinges off the dough. When a friend become a foe, that's how you really know.
So I was like first place up until like the last round, and then I ended up getting beaten by Jesse James, who was like winning every week anyway.
Okay.
You know, but it was more of a challenge. It wasn't so much y'all were rhyming again. That's what I loved about EO Dub. It really tested your. It was like Olympics. It was like
well, see, that was the thing. Like, what can you say? What are you talking about? It's not like that's the thing that kind of turns me off about battle rap. Like what it's turned into a little bit, because it's all about, yo, I got this gun that'll boom, 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 and bang, and your mom, and it's like, man, shut the fuck up. You niggas is like 5'3". Some of these motherfuckers, I don't know where the fuck they came from, and they're just talking a bunch of high-powered bullshit, and it's cool because niggas want to hear that, but in real life, I don't believe you. So can you spit some more believable motherfucking rhymes, or you gonna have to pull this AK out and let off some shots, huh? One or the motherfucking other, because this shit's getting a little out of control right now. You know what I mean? So I don't like the fantasy side of bigging yourself up and being so gangster disrespectful.
Like I never had to battle any women. I would always be in battles with men. So you know they're gonna go for your sexuality, the way you look. How you just, and I was like, yo, I'm ready to see you after the battle. You know, don't, because they would try to apologize. No, don't apologize, because everything you said you meant because you wanted to win. So I don't want to hear that. I was just, you know, I didn't mean nothing by it.
I mean, some people, I think that it truly is just lyrics for them, and they just think of disrespectful ways to be. But they'll go after the show, and you see everybody chilling. Like they were just mad disrespectful to each other, and now everybody's smoking weed, drinking, chilling. So I can understand that, but where you're coming from, it wasn't really battle rapping, and everybody wasn't so familiar with each other. So if you peep me out, you scope me out, and you say these things, it's more personal, and you meant to try to tear my head off. So I get where you're coming from, though.
Yeah, so it just wasn't for me, and everything's not for everybody. I mean, I think that people who battle...
Oh, that's one of the most beautiful lessons for you to learn in life. What's not for you.
Yeah, that battling wasn't for me.
Yeah. Oh, so they hurt your feelings, Stahhr?
It's not so much that they hurt my feelings, it was that it was disrespectful, and I don't invite disrespect.
You're down for the art. You're not down for the dog shit, that project shit.
That's not my lane. So I knew that wasn't my lane. I mean, I have an aggressive style, but I'm not aggressive.
You're still a woman at the end of the day. That's not, trying to battle rap and attack motherfuckers. So now all this is popping off. So what age are you about? Like 22, 24, 25? Like when
I started battling, or when I was
when all this is going on, 2004.
Oh yeah, at that point I had already done the stuff with Doom, and I was a little bit older than 22 in 2004.
So you started fucking with Doom. You're doing all these battles in Atlanta. How did you link up with Doom, and how did that come about?
I met Doom in like 99, 2000 out here. The Micronauts had a show, and they invited me up. Afterwards we had a cipher our rhyme. So I met Doom there. He said, "Oh, you dope," whatever. And then like maybe a year or so later we reconnected again, and that's when we started working together. But I was on the scene here in terms of like being like I started coming outside about 92, 93. So that I started rhyming like 91, 92. So as soon as I started rhyming, I was able to hit the ground. Like when Jack the Rapper was here, I was out there. When the Gavin, I lived here during that era, the Freaknik era, when a lot of people were coming to Atlanta to do shows. So I had the support and the base like instantly. Like as soon as I started rhyming.
So you started rhyming, you get it popping. Now you bump into Doom in 99.
99, 2000. And then that.
So y'all start putting together some work.
Right. But before that, you know, I'm linked with locally on this scene here. You know, we had during the 90s, we had so much talent here. We had that Boo, we had Mass Influence, Binkus Records, the Micronauts, Cult of Icon. There were so many crews here, so many MCs, the Brody Champs, you know, the Survivalists. It was just so many.
Yo, shout out to all those motherfuckers, because I never heard of any of them.
You probably know more of them than you think you know, because a lot of people were transplants. Atlanta's a transplant city, so a lot of the people. That's another reason how I got scooped up by people from Cali or people from New York, because there were so many different people here from different places. I really didn't have a whole bunch of friends that were from Atlanta, because transplant city. You know what I mean? I knew you know, a lot of the brothers from the Dungeon family, or I knew a lot of them, you know what I mean, because they were here.
Well, shout out to my LES niggas. My nigga True Life was down there fucking with all them. And when he got out of jail, Future wind up hooking him up and, you know, getting him some shit popping. And, you know, he wound up releasing a project and doing a few things, and he's making moves and shit like that. But he was fucking with Future when he was Meathead. I guess that was his name.
I didn't even know he was.
Or some shit like that. So he knows him before he even got it popping. So there was LES niggas down there getting it in too. So when you say Transplant City,
yeah, I mean, there was so, like, I think like most of, I don't even know if I ever had a boyfriend that was from here. I think they were all like either from like Connecticut, Philadelphia, New York, New Jersey, California, Chicago.
Gotcha.
You know.
So bringing that up, what's up with your love life? You dating anybody, girl?
No, I'm not.
You're single, okay. Ready to mingle.
I am single. I know a lot of people have this misconception that I got all of these male suitors, but I do not. That is not.
You're just doing your one too. I got you.
I'm weighing all my options.
You know? Pop your collar, baby. I see you.
I'm weighing my options out here right now.
So now, you link up with Doom. You're doing your 1-2. You get some shit popping. But if I'm not mistaken, like, don't you and Doom have a connection unrelated to hip hop as well?
We actually do. So, you know, for those who know who MF Doom is, he started out in KMD. You know, rest in peace to Sub Rock. And, you know, with DJ Onyx, you know, the three of them, you know, they started out as KMD. And at the time, Doom was part of the Ansar community, which anyone that grew up in Brooklyn knew about the Ansars. You know, Jazzo was an Ansar, KMD. I want to say Daddy O from Stetsasonic is one. I'm not like 100% sure, but I think he moved. You know, Pasta News was part of the Nation. The Bush Babies, Khalil from the Bush Babies was. So he was an Ansar. So in the Peach Fuzz video, you know, they have their jalabiyas
so
on.
So for people that don't know what an Ansar is, because I got my own fans that are like, what is she talking about?
Okay, so in the 90s in Brooklyn, right, there was a man named Dr. York, but he also went under many different other names.
So right? We're talking about Dr. Malachi York.
Malachi Z. York, right. Yanoon, he got, you know, Raboni, there's so many different attributes. So at this particular phase, they were Ansars, right? So they were dealing with al-Islam. And the people who lived in the community or were part of the community, you know, part of their way of making money, they would sell scrolls or books. And Dr. York wrote these books, you know, and the people that belong.
So you say that they were a part of Islam, but what was the true?
I wasn't an Ansar. I mean.
Oh, so okay, got you.
It wasn't an Ansar. Like, I didn't even know what an Ansar was.
You can't speak on that.
Yeah, I came when it was Holy Tabernacle Ministries.
Okay, hold on. I just wanted to catch that though. So now they're selling these.
I don't want to misinform, but
exactly.
The Ansars were Muslims.
Got you. So they were Muslims doing their 1-2. They were selling pamphlets and literature and books or whatever you want to call it.
And all of that was in the video. Like they had them in the video with the garments on, and they had the books and everything, right? So again, when I met Doom and he knew that I had studied with Pops, that was our instant connection, because that is how I met Science of Life. I met Science of Life.
So how did you start studying?
How did I start studying? Okay. In what year? 96. It was 1996, and I was on my way to a Roots concert at the Roxy. And I was walking, and these guys stopped me and my friend, and we were talking, and they just started, we were just building. And they were talking about all this like off the wall stuff. And they're like, yeah, we go to these classes, and you know, every Thursday or Wednesday, whatever, you should come with us. So like we exchanged information. And I think I went to the class the next week. And what I found out was that I had actually been approached by someone who was a part of the community when it was like after the Ansars, but before HTM. I think they were like, maybe they might have been on some Hebrew shit at the time.
Gotcha.
And he sold me this book in the mall. It was like the Book of Revelation. It was this big blue book. And he was just like, yo, sister, do you know that we were like the first people to exist? And he was telling me about the Crystal City and all these different things. And I mean, I'm like really into sci-fi and all these different things. So he was just blowing my mind. And then I was also seeking, because through the music, through hip hop, I really tapped into knowledge of myself, because I was always seeking. I knew from a very young age that Christianity wasn't for me. I knew like 5 years old. I was in church. It's like, none of this is even making any sense. And I'm 5 years old, but at 5, I'm like, this shit is all fake. Like at 5. And where would I get that from if nobody had ever talked to me about it? But I'm just observing, and I'm like, this is not it. So I knew. So I was always seeking something. So I had the book. I don't even think I ever cracked the book. I had a classmate that at the end of the year, one year, he was cleaning out his locker. His locker was next to mine. He goes, hey, do you want these books? Because I'm going to throw them away. And they were a bunch of scrolls, which I didn't know at the time, because again, no point of reference, didn't know. Took the books home, and when I started studying in 96, I remember going in my basement, and after going to class, I'm like, I have some of these books already. So I went home, and I'm like, yo, this dude gave me like all these, but they were from the Ansar period, because he grew up in the community. But I never knew that. We never had that discussion, right?
Now, I ain't gonna front. People used to come around when I was younger, and they used to start saying stuff about different things, and I would immediately get away from them, because I'm like, yo, son, I'm trying to get money right now. Like
I said right to it. That was
yeah, like I don't got time to be going to no meeting, to be doing shit. I'm trying to survive right now, and I'm trying to get paid. And I like back in the day, whenever you would leave the block or you leave your little area, you would bug the fuck out, because you'd be like, yo, what am I missing? And like, I might be chilling out over here, but I can't enjoy myself because I just spent $200, but in my mind, I just lost $1,000. So really, I'm in the hole $1,200 now, because now I'm spending money, and I know I could have been over here doing this and that. So there were certain times in my life where I'm like, this might make sense, but fuck out of here. Don't make dollars. You know what I mean? So I'm familiar with what you're talking about, but I like to break it down for the people that aren't. So now pick it up.
So, and I just don't want to misinform, because even now I haven't dealt with the information for a very long time, because it was a school that I went through, but I kept going. Like I didn't stop there. I kept going. But that definitely, I met Science of Life, as I was saying, I met Science of Life through the tab, because I was at Family Day and they performed. And I met them there.
Family Day for what?
Family Day for the community. Family Day is basically a celebration for Pop's birthday. So it's like a 3 or 4 day thing. You know, people from all over come, and we celebrate. You know, there's food, and we partying and celebrating, and there's class and all of that. So it's like a family reunion, but it's done around his birthday every year. Okay. It's like a Founders Day type of thing.
And what day is his birthday?
June 25th or 6th, but again,
Is it
like
Cancer?
He is a Cancer. Yep, he is. I might be off on a birthday. Don't nobody be fact check. I'm giving you all the disclaimer.
I'll be like, yo, Stahhr, you need to know the thing now. So now, all right. So you're learning things. You're getting involved. You're doing all this stuff. You're at Family Day. Let's get it.
And I met Science of Life there. And when I heard them rhyme, I'm like, wow. Because I was rhyming. I wasn't rhyming about bullshit, but I really didn't have like, I was just rhyming, right? Because I'm still at that point, 96. I'm still honing.
You feel you didn't have an identity, maybe?
Kinda. I mean, I was just an MC. You know what I mean? But
what do you represent?
Back then, I mean,
I mean, like as an MC, you're thinking to yourself, like, damn,
right.
what do I represent? What am I doing?
It all out because I had so many influences, and then I'm an intelligent person, so my rhymes always had that in it. You know what I mean? And then I'm learning all these different things. I'm learning all these different things, and hold on a second. I'm learning. No
problem. Do your thing.
And
I fucks with you. I got love for you, Stahhr.
I'm doing. I'm
young one too, girl.
20 when I found. Yo, I got a lot of love for you too. I was probably around 20 when I started studying with Pop. So up to that point, we would just smoke and just like freestyle, and so I was just having fun with it. I wasn't even really writing songs until about 96 because I wanted to always have the fresh off the dome freestyle. So at that point, I'm like, wow, like you can really rap about this. You can rap about You
felt like you had infinite information and science and jewels.
How do I put it together and to put it into a song? Because I was like, I didn't even want to rhyme with them because none of my rhymes were like, I was kind of intimidated. I'm like,
it wasn't complimentary to what they were saying.
Not that it had to be, but I mean, then again, here's the thing, right? The book that I read,
it impressed you. So
they impressed me so much to a point I wasn't gonna open my mouth and say anything.
Because I'm a bugged out motherfucker. Like, I don't care what people are doing. I'll be like, yo, we're going at it right now. And I'm gonna talk about crack and the block and my pit bulls and fucking bitches and doing everything. And they probably be like, man, fuck out of here, son. You lose. But I don't give a shit.
I mean, but I just wasn't.
But you're a girl. You're different.
I observe things before I jump in also. I like to feel things out sometimes. Now, when I feel comfortable, but again, I'm still defining myself. I'm young, and I got all of this stuff and I'm just bouncing it out. So studying with the tab helped me a lot because it helped me put a lot of things in perspective. It gave me a certain level of discipline.
Good for you.
Right, and then once I got comfortable, I can still do whatever I want to do anyway. It's just now I have this information. It's so overwhelming when you first get the information that you're just like,
Well, that's when you know when somebody's just learning anything for the first time in life because they want to tell everybody about it. They want people to know. They mention it. They talk about it.
Oh, there's no J's and B's in ancient Hebrew. How can you be a Christian? Yeah, I was one of.
So you already know when you're around somebody that's just starting to get shit popping because they're overwhelming with it. A friend of mine told me one time, he said, yo, you can have knowledge, right? And
but you're not applying it, then you don't really understand. And you don't
no. Like, well, yes. In so many words, that's what makes that's the difference between having knowledge and wisdom. Because when you have wisdom, you know how to apply it and when it's applicable to a situation. And sometimes you got to fall back and not even engage. Sometimes it's best for the person to learn on their own. So wisdom comes in many forms, but it's done particularly one way. You know what I'm saying? So having knowledge is something different. So when you start getting knowledge, you're like, blah, 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 blah. But once it starts resonating and you get a little more wisdom with yourself, you're kind of a little more reserved with it.
Yeah, you keep the gun on safety more.
Yeah.
first line, he's like, you do the Soldier Boy, da da da. You had the Draco.
I'm popping everybody, toma, toma, toma. Everybody's getting it. And then you start to chill out a little bit. So
I started performing like 97, 98. So when in order to perform, of course, you had to have songs. So like 97, that's when the songwriting became more of my focus, because I'm like, well, you gotta, in order to do a show, you gotta have songs, right?
Well, and that's how these cats, the Ansar or whatever was going on, they were influencing you to kind of get your shit popping and put your shit together.
Not with the music per se. I'm just saying around that time.
Okay.
I was studying, but then I was also involved in the hip hop.
Well, you were just on a high frequency. You were studying, you were developing and building your craft, and kind of.
At the time, the years of me rhyming, now there were people who were interested in hearing what I had to say beyond just being a freestyle MC. So I started, going to record and, writing, really, getting on my songwriting a little bit more. So that took me into that chamber. So as I'm, gaining my knowledge of self, and I'm getting more comfortable in my femininity, because I dressed like a tomboy in high school because I was always around dudes. So I wanted to blend in. So at this point, I'm like, I'm like, all right, I don't gotta wear the fatigues all the time. I might want to wear this, So I was just getting really comfortable, and that's where I gave myself an attribute, the FemC, which is an acronym, and it stood for Feminine Energy, Mastering Creativity to Elevate Eternal. Now I thought I created the term.
See, that's what I'm talking about, female MC. Stop fronting on me, Stahhr.
But that's not why, because again,
maybe I interpret it that way.
But it was an acronym, and again, a lot of people.
But how you gonna tell me how I'm supposed to feel?
I'm telling you what I came up with and why, though.
And I'm telling you, maybe I agree with you, and that's what I mean.
Oh, okay, cool.
When I say female MC, it's cool, guys, cool.
The FemC thing kind of became controversial, and then I met someone that had a girl from St. Louis, and there was a woman there who was like, well, no, I've been using the term FemC. I'm like, well, okay. I said, well, I'm the first person that's used it publicly. So even if you've been using the term, there's never been another artist out that was calling herself the FemC. So I want to make sure that I credit that person, bgirl.com, if she sees this. She actually has the claim that she was using the term prior to me, but I didn't know she was.
So how does all this start tying into Malachi York and MF Doom and all that?
Well, it's part of all these things happened during the time that I was studying.
Okay, got you.
Right, like I'm coming into this awareness. So as an artist, my art is imitating my life, right? So I'm incorporating what I'm learning into my rhymes. I'm incorporating what I'm learning into my life. So when I started performing, I'm on my, I'm on my shea butter incense, head wrap shit. But I'm a hardcore MC though. So that was always the, I
used to have a homie back in the day, yo. I used to tell him, yo, son, come get some money with me. And this motherfucker, he would ride around with a backpack on a shitty bike with black soap, incense, frankincense, oil. This nigga had every motherfucking scent that you wanted, mad oils. He have like a couple eighths to sell too, but he will make no money. But he will be so content making like $25 and he'll come back and he'll be like, yo, man, I did this great stuff all day and I met this lady. His mind wasn't focused on reality. It was like this alternate reality he was living in where it was just all about...
Well, that was his reality.
Well, no. It was all about him representing this lifestyle and kind of unsubscribing from normality and Western society. So he didn't have to have a 9-to-5 or do this or do that. And he was going to sell mother's candy and jewels from the earth and this and that. And he had this whole perspective. But, and that isn't everybody. There's a lot of motherfuckers that get paid. Don't get it twisted. But there were people that I would come across that I was like, yo, what the fuck you doing, son? You know what I mean? So go ahead.
probably living off somebody. But anyway,
Yo! Talk, yeah! He was a light-skinned motherfucker. So, you know what I'm saying? He had the dreadlocks and shit. You probably had some bitches flocking to him.
Somebody else is taking care of your needs. You can play. You know, when you know you ain't got to pay the rent, it's a lot easier to do that. I'm just saying. I know a lot of people like that. They're real comfortable doing that because somebody else is footing the bill for their whole existence.
Yo, Stahhr, I love you. You keep it a gangster. I didn't want to get too much into the person's business, but you hit the nail right on the head. Bang!
The only way you can be comfortable like that, unless you just, you know what I mean, unless you're homeless.
Well, you know, you got motherfuckers out there like that too.
Some people are content being homeless. Like they choose to just remain that way. They don't want to have any ties to anything, no responsibility, no connection. They just want to roam the earth. I mean, that is some people came here to do that. I like running water and air conditioning and, you know, nice things. So that I could never.
The amenities and all that good stuff.
I need my amenities. I need all of them.
So sorry, I sidetracked you. Get back in.
You know, comfort is important to me. So,
of course.
But yeah, so at that time, you know, my consciousness, my awareness is raising, but then I'm still on I'm a hip hop head, I'm a B girl, so I'm me wherever I go. So if I'm going to perform, I'm going to perform in the way that I look on my daily. You know, I was transitioning into a vegetarian, you know, plant-based at that time. You know, I was drinking, you know, water with chlorophyll in it. I had, gotten into Queen Afua. So I'm going through all of these changes, and it's reflected in my music, and it's reflected in the way that I carry myself, right? I've always been me, no matter what phase of my life I was in. Anything I get into, I completely commit to it. I mean, I do the research, I do the knowledge. Like when I started rhyming, they told me, you got to be able to do this and you got to be able to do that. And So I made sure I knew the elements. I knew who was what, when, where, you know, where hip hop started, because I never wanted someone to call me a fake, right? Or someone who wasn't being true or wasn't keeping it real.
Disingenuous.
I'm never going to be out here being fake. Gotcha. You know, so even with my influence, I'm like, well, people are like, well, why do you sound? Because I'm influenced by the East Coast heavily, and I give it up. So I'm so heavily influenced. It's stuck. I don't know what I don't have a heavy Southern drawl. I've never had one, so I can't put on a Southern drawl just because people want me to. They don't understand why I'm the way I am, because that's how I am. That's you know, nature versus
them.
Basically. I mean,
I don't worry about what nobody thinks about me. I'm compassionate towards people's feelings.
People are genuinely curious. Like they're like, how do you sound like this and you're not from here? I'm like, that's how strong the influence is. You know, it's a strong influence. So and I mean, I've been on this for so long, it's just like I don't even know any other way to be.
Got you. So now
my life, I've been immersed. You know what I mean? Like over 20 years. So
you start reaching new heights in your career. You're fucking with MF Doom, and you're doing your studies. You're with Malachi York. You're doing all these things. When because you know he got caught up in a bunch of shit.
Right, and around
you start to deviate and go in your own direction from that.
Now, I got to know some of his children, like his actual children, when I was studying. One of which was murdered. They killed Yad, peace be upon him. They killed Yad Alahi in like 98, I think, 97, 98. Might have been 98 that they shot him. And I remember me and him and one of my friends, we went out to eat, and he was like, yo, sis, let me tell you something. Like, don't give up your life for this shit. He said, because one day you're going to find out, you know, what it's really all about and what we are. He said, just study, but keep living your life. Don't move into the community. Don't give up the things that you have. Don't, you know, and for him to tell me that weighed very heavily on me. And he wasn't the only one, because I was really amped. Like, I was ready. Like, I'm trying to move in the tab and this is it. And I had a lot of people like advise me, like, just
pump your brakes, shorty.
Right. So I kind of veered away
at that point, naturally.
Around 98, like after Yag got killed, I definitely veered away. You know, I was studying different.
R.I.P. the son.
Yeah, rest in peace, definitely. I was studying so many other things, like I was, you know, dealing with the Ansar set information. You know, I'm dealing with just other things. You know, I knew, you know, a lot of God bodies. So, you know, I'm getting, you know, jewels from them. I never really got to walk that path because it was a conflict with me, because I studied with Pops first. So I was asking questions. Like, I'm like, well, what's the etymology of the word? Where does this come from? And that was really frustrating some of the people that I was running into. Not all, but enough that I never really got to get that full experience.
Gotcha.
So I had to keep, you know, moving. I was dealing with African traditional, you know, spirituality. I'm open to everything Black, everything African, everything original, everything, you know, indigenous. I want all that information that I can possibly get, right? So I just got all kind of stuff. I'm studying metaphysics, you know, I'm everywhere. I'm just, cause I'm seeing how things are connected. So I'm doing yoga, or I'm doing that. I might, you know, studying astrology. I'm just taking everything. I'm taking the best part of everything, and I'm leaving the stuff that doesn't compute over there. And that's because, and I'm adding that to myself. So I always refer to myself as an amalgam, because I am all these different things that I've studied or been influenced by, and I put it together, and it is who I am. And I'm still evolving and still growing. So I'm, you know, if you knew me 10 years ago, I probably don't look like the same person, or sound like the same person, or move like the same person, because I'm different, because I'm constantly growing, I'm constantly refining. You know, change is the only constant. So I'm always
facts. Talk, you know, that shit.
I'm always looking for higher heights. You know, I was Nyabingi Rasta for years. You know, I mean, head wrap, always no pants, only skirts and dresses. You know, living, you know, eating ital, and just I lived it. Like I lived it. Like my whole.
So what do you think, after going through all those things, do you think that they truly changed your perspective on life, or do you think that they're just chapters and things that you added on to build up your identity as an individual being on this earth?
I think that for the time that I was in those things, I needed that lesson. And then once I got what it was I was there for, I was instructed to move along. And I retained the things that worked for me in all of those things. But really, at the end of the day, I'm like, you know, everyone is seeking the truth. Everybody wants answers. Everybody wants to feel comfortable about, you know, living, because to not live, no one knows what that's like. So while you're here, you're trying to have the best experience living possible, for me to be prepared for when I'm not living anymore. I mean, that's my end. You know, how do I make the most of this so that when I transition, I'm able to transition the way I need to transition, if there's even a transition, right? Which I believe there is, but everyone doesn't. But I've seen things that, for me, I know this ain't the end of the road. It can't be, because if it is, energy never dies. So we're energy, that's what we are. So our energy got to keep moving. Where it goes, who knows? But for me, I want to be as comfortable and at peace as possible, so that I can enjoy every minute that I have here, because I don't know when my time is up.
Well, I live by that all the time.
Yeah.
You like you never know when death is around the corner,
Right.
And you can't sit around waiting for shit to just
Right.
drop into your lap, or waiting for everything to be perfect so you can be happy.
It'll never
You
be.
gotta go out in the world and make you know, you gotta do your one too.
It's really the same end game. It's just how a person wants to express it. You know what I mean?
Very
how they want to express
yeah.
their love or their respect or whatever for the source that they came from, you know.
Most definitely, and there's nothing wrong with having a different understanding or actually trying to tap
even
into.
If you don't believe in anything, that's still a way of life. That's still a way of thinking. I mean, a person who doesn't believe in a god or whatever, that they still have a culture. They still have ethics. You know, they still have a way of life, and they do have a belief system. You know what I'm saying? It's their belief system is based on what they believe.
Well, what they can touch, maybe what's tangible, or things to that effect. You know what I'm saying? So let's get back into so now 98, 2000, we're flash forwarding a little forward. You've worked with Doom. You're working on
2001 is when I started working with Doom. That was when that era, like 2001, I got signed to Subverse. You know, I was, you know, I was working with Science of Life. You know, I worked with the Micronauts. So that's where I am. You know, I'm an integral part of the scene here in Atlanta. I'm like the girl, the woman that rhymes at this point. Definitely one of them. I mean, some people would say I was the one. So let me clarify that to not take away the light from any other women that were out here while I was here. But at a certain point, I was the one. And I mean, people that were here will say, yeah, she was. Because you know they only like to let one of us have the light at the time. But there were a lot of women here that rhymed that I came up with. Especially when you start performing and you know going to the ciphers and the open mics and everything, you're meeting a lot more people. So there were we had a really dope community here, a really dope underground independent hip hop scene in Atlanta. A lot of people from other cities came here and jumped their careers off. This was like a launch pad for so many artists. So many people came here from other places and they jumped it off here. So it's just a really dope.
Well, Nicki Minaj, she went down to Atlanta and got her shit. There's a lot of people.
Yeah, I don't recall that.
Yeah, she left New York. She went down there. She was fucking with Gucci Mane.
When was this?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly, but I remember that's when she had a flat ass and no titties. She went down there.
Follow the trajectory of her career.
Me neither, but I remember learning about it one day. I think Big Fendi was talking about it.
Oh, okay.
And yes, she went down there. She was doing this and that because you know Deb Antony. She's from Queens, but she was.
I met Deb before.
So I guess there was something that got popped off. I don't know because she was fucking with Gucci Mane at the time, and Nicki Minaj was able to kind of spark her shit up. But anyhow.
Got you, yeah. Be that as it may, I don't remember that particular part of her career. But
she was definitely down there.
So 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003, you know, I'm out here, I'm doing more shows. I'm getting, I'm working with producers overseas and here. I did a lot of collabs. I didn't put an album out at all during that, like from 98, 99 to like 2006, 2000. Yeah, because 2006, I got pregnant. So I fell back a lot.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and up until that point, I had the maxi single, but I had not done an album yet. I would get really distracted, even though I had all these opportunities. I would like get in my own way, as some people would say. So I would like have a great opportunity, and then I might be tripping over some guy I was dating, or okay, I'm in school now, or just whatever. I was always putting something in my way, but I always kept doing the collabs. So I always stayed out there through that. I didn't put an album out until 2008 though. That was my first album, even though I had done all that stuff. Album 2008 after I had my son, when it was more difficult for me to do music because I was balancing motherhood and family with music. And music, you know, takes, if you're gonna do music on a full-time basis, it takes everything. So to have a newborn and be trying to be a rapper for me was quite a challenge.
Yeah. You're being modest.
But that's what I was doing. And yeah, you know, we dropped the album in 2008, Almost Never Was. Doom put out, let's see, what year? Food came out in 2006? When did Food drop?
I can.
I know the Mad Villainy came out in 2004. And Food came out, had to be 2006. It came out in 2006, and then Born Like This came out in 2009. Now, I recorded songs like Still Dope. I did that. I wrote that song on a tour bus in 2004. You know? So, but the album didn't come out till 2009. And that's like with Doom, you could do work for him and you don't know when it's going to be released.